Namaskar viewers, I welcome you all to this presentation on institutions as sources of information. This presentation will cover different types of premier institutions in various sectors, the products, services, publications, activities, facilities and achievements, programs, important persons, address, history, etc. of different types of institutions, and the importance of institutions as an important source of information. Viewers, as you know, there are ministries and departments. These are various sections or subsections of government. And these various ministries of the government are authentic sources of primary data and information. These ministries and departments undertake various activities, and all data generated during the activities are organized, are collected, organized and maintained in physical form, as well as they are made available for public access use on the websites of ministries and departments. The executive, legislature and judiciary, states, union territories and districts of the Indian government have a structured mechanism for carrying out its various activities and for disseminating much needed information through its various institutions and organizations. This is important for all of you to know because government functions through its various structured units and subunits. As you can see on the screen, this is a website of government, and you can see various units and subunits. For example, you can see union government, then you can see legislature, you can see states and union territories, and then you find judiciary. And under these wings, you find further subdivisions. Similarly, you can see on the screen different sectors of the government like agriculture and others are listed on the screen. And if you go to this website and you click on it, you will be further led to the page of agriculture and allied fields, and where you will find details of different sections and subsections and how the ministry functions and what are the different activities which they have undertaken, what are the publications which they have produced, or what are the data which they have collected, their policies, their decisions. All these are well maintained and available for public to access. And then similarly, this is education and training is also one of the sections, one of the sections of the ministry. And here you will find, if you click on any of these links, any of the listed organizations, you will be led to their home pages, and you will find all about these organizations. On the website itself, you will find what are the objectives of the organization, what are the mission of the organization, what are the different activities which they undertake, what are the policies which they have formulated. All these details are available. As you can see on the screen, it shows different ministries of the government, and if you click on any of this particular ministry, you will be led to its home page with full details given. It's how it is structured, what are its different wings, what are its different departments, what are its different activities, what are its different objectives, what is its mission. Everything is well defined, is well spelled on the website for users to access and find out and make use of the information which is available. This is on the screen, you can see Ministry of Education, and it has listed different under ministries. You will find this particular Ministry of Education, and if you click on this, you will find departments, Department of Higher Education, Department of School Education and Learning. And if you click on a particular link, you will be led to the home page of it, and where you will find all the details, all the detailed information about how it functions, what are its different activities, what are the different rules which have been laid out in that particular section, policies. Then similarly, this is again Ministry of Education, as you can see on the website. Then this is an example of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. And on the screen you can see different departments listed, and if you click on it you will be led to the home page where you can find in-depth information. It's very important for all of the viewers to know about Right to Information Act 2020, and according to this act, it's very important for all the citizens of the country to know what are the different departments and what decisions are taken and how the government money is spent on various activities for the welfare of the citizens. So it also prevents it also helps in maintaining transparency and prevents corruption. This screen shows Right to Information. What are its objectives? What are the objectives of Right to Information Act? What does it cover? And then viewers, it's very important for all of you to know about suo motu disclosure. And what does it say? It is covered under Section 4(1)(b) of RTI Act 2005. A large amount of information should be placed in public domain on a proactive basis to make the functioning of the public authorities more transparent, and also to reduce the need for filing individual RTI applications under suo motu proactive disclosure under Section 4(1)(b) of RTI Act 2005. What does it mean? It means, according to this Section 4(1)(b) of RTI Act 2005, all government ministries, all departments, all universities and all government organizations, they are supposed to maintain their websites and they are supposed to provide information of all the activities, of all the work they undertake in public domain, so that citizens, if the common man wants, he can visit the website to find out the various activities of the organization. Suo motu disclosure, it enables the information seeker to get information through concerned website and implement the RTI Act efficiently and in the right perspective. So suo motu disclosure, so the long and short of it is that before a citizen asks for any information, it should be made available in public domain so that citizens or users may access and find out. Then another source of information is international agencies. For example, United Nations with its several programs, research and training institutes, other UN entities such as United Nations University and many subsidiary bodies and commissions, they are a rich source of information in numerous areas. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, which is UNESCO, it was founded in 1945, is a specialized agency of United Nations which promotes international cooperation among its 193 member states and 6 associate members in the fields of education, science, culture and communication. Viewers, it is important for you to know that UNESCO also serves as a clearing house for the dissemination and sharing of information and knowledge while helping member states to build their human and institutional capacities in diverse fields. As you can see on the screen, it shows about United Health Organization, World Health Organization, and it tells what is it about. WHO, as you can see on the screen, WHO works worldwide to promote health, keep the world safe and serve the vulnerable. You see, it's very important what the website mentions. It talks about the activities which it undertakes. It talks about its mission and goal. As you can see, these days corona has affected almost every country of the world. So World Health Organization is providing complete information about this disease. So anybody who wants any information related to COVID-19 pandemic should know that World Health Organization is one of the very authentic sources of information pertaining to coronavirus disease. So viewers, it's very important for you to know about these organizations, these institutions which serve as sources of information. Then it also mentions, the website also mentions that what kinds of data collections it maintains. And if you want to know the number of people affected by coronavirus or anything pertaining to coronavirus, you can visit this website and you can just key in your query in the search box. The screen shows what different kinds of data collections the World Health Organization maintains. It talks about communicable diseases, it maintains data about maternal and prenatal health, then all other these data sets which they maintain, or information about HIV AIDS, all these things, all data related to these diseases are available and anyone can access. Researchers, it's very useful for researchers working in health sciences. Then we talked about ministries, we talked about international organizations, then we have research and development organizations. And some of the examples of research and development organizations, for example, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Indian Council of Medical Research, and Indian Council of Agricultural Research. These are different R&D, research and development organizations. Then there are many private R&D organizations as well. Many of the laboratories of these umbrella organizations are not only well known, but have been recognized as important sources of information in specific areas. In case of CSIR, many of the laboratories have libraries and information centers. And these libraries and information centers at CSIR laboratories function as national information centers. As you can see on the screen, it is homepage of Department of Science and Technology. It talks about what is it about, what does it do, what is its mandate, what kind of information it provides, what is the range of it lists, or it talks about, it focuses about the various activities which it undertakes. Then how do R&D organizations act as source of information? Research and development institutes are consumers of information. The institutes usually have rich library and information centers, and these libraries and information centers serve as a valuable source of information in a given field. By virtue of research and development activities which are being carried out, R&D organizations are important sources of primary information. It's important for all viewers to take note of this. They are important sources of primary information. The findings of research activities which are carried out usually get reported in documentary sources such as conference proceedings or in journals, or findings are filed for patents. Nevertheless, for an information seeker, the organization can provide authentic and current information on an area of research pursued by their scientists. Then we have academic institutions. Academic institutions, viewers, as you know, like universities, colleges or schools, they are all academic institutions. Academic institutions conduct several courses, and information on the courses, programs offered by them is one of the many different kinds of information that is provided. Centers or departments in the academic institutions which deal with placements of students, public relations, industry partnership, commercialization of technologies, and data about alumni are some of the areas on which academic institutions disseminate information. The academic institutions also have well-stocked libraries. This is very important for all the viewers to know that whether all academic institutions, whether they are universities or whether they are colleges or schools, they all have well-stocked libraries which are an important source of information. Many academic institutions even have museums which complement the institutions in providing information. As you can see on the screen, it's a home page of Jawaharlal Nehru University, and it provides detailed information under various tabs like About. If you click on About, you will find the mission, the mandate, how the university was set up, and then there are different tabs like About, Administration, Academics, Faculty, and all these things are listed. And as you can see, one of the tabs is Library as well. Then you have learned societies. A learned society is an organization which exists to promote an academic discipline or group of disciplines. Most learned societies are non-profit organizations. Their activities typically include holding regular conferences for the presentation and discussion of new research results and publishing or sponsoring academic journals in their discipline. As you can see on the screen, it's the homepage of Royal Society of London, and it mentions the website mentions that we are the independent scientific academy of the UK, dedicated to promoting excellence in science for the benefit of humanity. This is what a learned society does. And this, as you saw on the screen, this Royal Society of London, it published one of the earliest journals in the year 1665, Philosophical Transactions. Then this is another example of a learned society, American Association for Advancement of Sciences. Then if you visit the website, you will find there are different tabs like who are we, what do we do, get involved, membership. And what does it do? Advocacy for evidence, coverage in STEM, and different other aspects different other activities which it undertakes, which the learned society undertakes, they are all listed on the website, as you can see on the screen. Public engagement, science diplomacy, science education, shaping science policy. India also has a number of learned societies in different disciplines. The Asiatic Society, the Geological Society of India, and the Indian Physical Society are some of the learned societies. The Asiatic Society was founded in 1784, and it was founded with the dream to set up a center for Asian studies, including almost everything concerning man and nature within the geographical limits of the continent. As you can see, the web page of the home page of Asiatic Society, it talks about its collection, then it talks about what are the different disciplines from which it collects sources, and then it also mentions the languages in which the sources are collected and maintained. Then we have publishing houses. Publishing houses are in the information business by way of publishing a variety of documentary sources, predominantly books and of course others things like maps, atlases. Publishing by itself is a process of production and dissemination of literature or information. Traditionally, publishing referred to printed material. But nowadays, with the advent of information communication technologies, publishing can be done by an individual, such as by an author himself or herself. However, there are large publishing houses which publish a variety of materials like books, periodicals. By virtue of being in the information business, the publishing houses are a vital source of information. And some of the examples are like, you must be aware, we have Sage Publishing, we have Elsevier Publisher, we have Taylor and Francis, we have Wiley. These are all examples of publishing houses, and they publish periodicals, they publish books, they publish online periodicals, they publish e-books. Then other examples are of sources of organizations as sources of information. They are press. Press includes newspapers and magazines, televisions and radio. And you must know that newspapers are valuable documentary sources of current information. In addition to general newspapers, we have specialized newspapers like sports, new business, trade, science, and so on. And you must know that press also plays an important role in archiving information. Then besides press, we have museums too. A museum is a building or institution which houses a collection of artifacts or objects. This is, you can say, as you can see on the screen, that this is the National Rail Museum, which is located in New Delhi. You can see the website talks about its history, why was it set up, when was it set up, and so on and so forth. What does its collection include? Unlike press and broadcasting houses, which help you to serve current information, the museums are organizations which are a major source of ancient and historical information. It's very important for you to know difference between press. Press provides information which is current in nature, whereas museums, they provide information which is historical, which is ancient or historical. Archives, then besides museum, we have archives. Archives are, like museums, are storehouses of documents which have great historical value. An archive is a collection of historical records. And it's important for you to know that archival records are normally unpublished and almost always unique, unlike books or magazines. Archives are quite distinct from libraries with regard to their functions and organization, although archival collections can often be found within library buildings as well. As you can see on the screen, it's another example of archive, National Archives. National Archives of India is the nodal agency of Government of India for implementation of Public Records Act 1993 and Public Record Rules 1997 made under the Act. The Act regulates the management, administration and preservation of all public records of the central government and the Union Territory administration. And National Archives of India is responsible for not only keeping in safe custody the records of the various ministries and departments of Government of India, but is also engaged in devising suitable mechanisms to streamline the management of the records in a systematic manner, so that they can be used by administrators and scholars whenever they need. And archives also advises the state governments, custodial institutions, etc. in proper upkeep and management of their records. Then further you have NGOs, which are non-governmental organizations. It is an independent voluntary association of people acting together on a continuous basis for some common purpose other than achieving government office, making money or illegal activities. And you should know that NGO is legally constituted and operates independently from any government, thus does not have any government status. For example, you can see Center for Science and Environment. It's an NGO which researches into, lobbies for and communicates the urgency of development that is both sustainable and equitable. The efforts of the center are built around 5 programs which include communication for awareness, research and advocacy, education and training, knowledge portal and pollution monitoring. All NGOs have a strong information base and have information communication in its area of work as a mandate. They bring out publications like reports, magazines, which are important sources of information. Many NGOs work on unique projects and activities, and consequently the information products based on their activities. Viewers, in this presentation you have seen that institutions are a source of information. They serve as an important source of information Institutions meet the information requirements of different types of information seekers. The institutions collect data, publish reports, and undertake education, research and training, advocate and undertake humanitarian activities as well. I hope you have benefited from this presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much.